Hello, hello, hello. What's going on, crypto world? Hope y'all are having a beautiful weekend. It's a little rainy over here down in Texas. Getting a little bit of that late storm. You are tuned in to No Noise Research with your host, Z-Rex. That is myself. I welcome you to the show. We're going to jump right into market stuff, because I got to go to work pretty soon. So we're just going to get right into this. So let's go ahead and get the party started. Oh, yeah, sorry about that. A minute ago, I accidentally hit in stream instead of like turning my mic on or something. That was a special ed move. Anyway, here we go. As we always like to start off with market cap and kind of the top movers of the day, or maybe even the week. Here we are, banging back up against that mid 225 billion area. We've been talking about it for a long time. It's actually been support. That and 200 have been support for longer than I can count right now. It's just we are stuck in this perpetual range, which I talked about in the video a few days ago. Do check those out if you would like to. We got timestamps on all of them, so they're easy to navigate, etc, etc. So here we are. We had a nice little pump in the volume right here, but nothing. We have had no follow through really. We're just in kind of no man's land. We are staying above 200 billion, so that's pretty good for now, but do be cautious that, you know, like over here on the 5th earlier this month, you know, like 40 billion just came out in like half a day. So this is crypto, so do be careful and cautious on that. We'll talk about some price actions and trade ideas here in a moment. Let's go to the main page, filter some stuff out here because we don't need to see all these garbage coins that no one cares about. Let's do a minimum of them, about 200 million. So Ripple is showing some strength. We've been liking Ripple for a while. We talked about that in the video when it was basing, I guess that was 4 days ago, when it was basing around 40 cents, 45 cents or so, in the mid 40s. That was really good support, as that was where the support level was before it broke down. And as I'm just talking about this out loud, let's put a visual to it. All right, here we go. So back over here, this is what I'm talking about. We had lots of support here in the mid 40s. Just hung out there for a couple months, and then we finally broke that 40 level, and it went right down to our target about mid 20s, and has been bouncing off of that level since then. And now it looks like it's getting ready to do another breakout. Let's look at some oscillators. Yep, we were talking about the other day, still being bullish. It's staying right above this nice 21 exponential, and it just did get bullish again. It just did again. Man, that didn't sound right. Anyway, we got DMI up here above in the power zone. So this is looking pretty sexy right here. We have some time for the oscillators to cool off, the market to digest this price, and it seems to be accepting it in this range thus far. So we're bullish on the daily, bullish on the 4 hour, how about on the hourly, and we are bullish on the hourly from this spike right here. So looking pretty nice on the rips. I don't see any reason to get bearish on this until we can break, excuse me, until we can break this little local low here. And maybe, you know, that's kind of far for most. So let's say this consolidation right here at about 51 cents. That also coincides nicely here with the orange 55 exponential. So that'll be a good stopping point for maybe getting out of a long position. That's kind of what I'm playing with right now. And ultimately, my 144 exponential, that's when I will definitely jump ship on there. But after this consolidation right here on the 55, like right on top of it, you know, that was kind of like, hey man, we're not quite done yet. Now, that obviously can easily drop below that. No one knows shit on direction, but we can just give us the best kind of setup that we can get. And right now, this is seeming to be like it wants to break out one more again. Even on the 3-day, it's looking pretty damn good. And the daily, like we discussed a few days ago, it is consolidating above the longest term exponential, which is the 377, this red one here. And so it has been finding a base over the last little over a week now above that. So that is pretty good. I think this can ultimately get super bullish if we break over like 61 cents, especially on a daily, which we will have a daily close coming up here about 45 minutes roughly. So that'll be interesting. I don't think I'll still be streaming by the time that happens, but you never know. I do like to talk too much sometimes, as most of my friends can probably confirm that. Anyway, let's go back to market overview. Ethereum's showing some love today, up about 5% in the last day, last 24-hour period. OMG, let's go check out OMG. We talked about it a few weeks ago, hadn't followed up on it in a while. Let's see what it's doing. Oh, it's kind of making a nice little base here. Very ugly longer term chart, although it only goes back to about last summer, so not too much data. Yeah, I don't see anything super exciting here. It does look a lot better than when we looked at it, I guess about a week or two ago. And it has just been chopping sideways. This is actually a fairly interesting chart. And it looks like the bears are about to take a commanding lead here. They are in the power zone, and the bulls. And the bulls are in the power zone while the bears are getting below into the weak zone, which is below about mid-teens, roughly. And that is on the DMI indicator. Let's see here. If this closes on this 4-hour... which ends at the same time as the daily close. It's 7 Central Time, Chicago time, or in 45 minutes, no matter where you are. If this can kind of get above this area, above all these wicks, about $3.80, OMG is going to look pretty damn good. And you can see this nice consolidation with some decent look in the indicators here. Even RSI is showing some okay strength. Let's look at it on the daily. Neutral on the daily. On the 1 hour, it's looking real good on the 1 hour. So OMG might be something to take note here. I'm gonna play around with a position idea and see what we can kind of get going. We got all these stacked moving averages. You got the orange, yellow, and the purple. Let's go ahead and just leave it kind of at that. And let's target. I bet you this is about a 6182, where the red exponential is. No, not quite. It's a little below. That's okay. I just want to target about the 618 retracement, which is almost where I have the box. So we're just going to leave it right there. It's almost there. This sets up as about a 3-to-1 risk-to-reward ratio. And how I play these two, if you can watch other videos when I set these up. And the ones that I do trade setups on, specifically like this, I will put trade setup next to the ticker TA in the video, just FYI, and that will be in the timestamps. That's in the comments, in the first comment, and also in the description of the videos. Moving along, so right here, this setup looks pretty decent, and like I was about to say, or I got a little distracted on pumping the timestamps. I usually like to manage these when they get to about half of what my target is, and I generally do about 20 to 30%. Unless the market is looking real nasty, I might adjust that and take off half. So it just kind of really depends on the market environment, and especially now that we're in a bearish market and things could roll over really quickly right here. You know, you want to be a little bit more aggressive on your management. But this is we're going to set this up right here. This looks like a pretty decent chart to me. Alright, let's go back to the overview real quick, see what else is on there. Some stuff I've never heard of. Eternity, whatever. Verge. Oh, the good old Dogecoin Dark. NEM, Stellar. Let's go check out Stellar since we just checked out the XLM. I'm sorry, that is XLM, man. Since we just checked out the XRP, I should say. Wow, this is just hanging out hardcore after this nice little pump from 21. It does look to be finding support at a 618 roughly. Yeah, we are finding support which coincides with this longer term moving average, the red. So this is actually also pretty good setup. You could ultimately take risk down to about this, and you should have really nice support. That is 10%, though. That's a little bit stretching it. Remember, y'all don't want to go over 10% generally on like your risk. This is very general, of course, because once you get over 10%, it's exponential on the losses, like what you have to gain to recoup those losses. And just simple kind of math, if you lose 50% to get back to even, you're going to need 100% gain, right? And a 10% loss, you need about 11% gain to get even, so it's pretty much 1-to-1. And then after that, the ratio starts to really screw you. And gosh, it's scary once it gets to like 70 to 90% losses, and then you get to 90 plus, and it's just like, what? I need 1800% after 95% loss to break even? Yeah, spoiler alert, that's probably not going to happen. Yeah, like you probably won't even gonna be able to hold it that long. But we are finding some nice support here on the 55 exponential. That looks a little bit more manageable. Let's check it out. Let's put one on here just to see. That is the wrong tool. Hold on. We got to go to long position tool. Click that guy on there right there. And what if we split that, make it about 5%? See what the target kind of area here is. Yes. I mean, yeah, I don't really like this setup as much. It's not as sexy, that's for sure. Especially after getting... Let me drag that over for a second. Especially after it looks like this already hit kind of at 618. It sure did. I guess the silver lining to this is it is finding a little bit of support at the 3.8. So that is one of the more important fib numbers. So guess what, guys? We're going to go ahead and... oh, DMI is getting weak. So you know what? We're actually going to stall on that one. If this was the reverse and DMI was doing this and crossing over, then I would be a lot more... I'd be way more likely to take a long position in this. But now that it's kind of gone a little neutral on the 1 hour, and it's not quite, we don't have quite conviction yet on the 4 hour. If we did get above 26.5 cents though on a 4 hour, that would be a real nice trade, probably for maybe a couple pennies. You could get out of there, like 5-10%, something like that. But I will not be taking that trade at the moment. Let's go to Mama Bear, good old BTC. The one that really matters, everyone's favorite, unless you're, you know, a Ripple fanatic. I don't know if there are Ripple fanatics. I'm sure there's a few. I guess Roger Ver would be a better one, the Bitcoin Cash fanatics. Looks like we want to come test this longer term exponential one more again. Neutral on the 4 hour though. Neutral on the daily. And as you can see, when we talked last, we were, because I didn't do a video yesterday, we were over here, I believe. Yes, it was the 27th. No, might have even been the 26th. Crap. Damn, did I miss 2 days? I think I did. Yeah, I've been busy with the family and work, so sorry about that if you were wanting your fix. I'm still working on a better schedule so I can not miss any of them. Or most of the time not miss. Sometimes, you know, shit happens and you can't do that. But anyway, yeah, you can see here we got a little tiny, little smidget above in the power zone on the 1 hour. That was followed through very nicely here, though, with this one. But it wasn't good enough conviction. Like, I probably wouldn't have taken that scalp. But it did have a good follow through after that. Still popped another couple $100 after recently rolling over almost a couple $100, close. And then it rolled back over right to where it was. This has been the MO of Bitcoin Mama Bears: pop, drops, drops, and pops, and just kind of, hey, let's stay in the green box zone. Here you go. See, y'all know from the first video I started doing, this box has been on there, and we've only been out of it for like maybe a week and a half total time before like coming back in, right? Okay, let's call it 2 weeks, whatever. So that's kind of funny. We can't get out of here. Like that other video I called is, are we just like perpetually range bound? You know, we're just gonna bounce between 6,000 and 7,000 forever. That's the new Bitcoin price. Highly doubtful. Just kidding. That's not gonna happen. I do believe in the longer term that Bitcoin will hit some of those crazy ass high numbers that you've heard. You know, pick anywhere from 20K again to, what does McAfee say? I think, did he say 1 million for his little dick eating thing? I don't know. Whatever. That's pretty silly. But it does look like we're getting some resistance still at the 55 exponential on the daily. So that is very noteworthy. And don't forget, we're coming back up on this trend line, this long-term trend line that's been intact since the beginning of the year, and we have failed it every single time that it's touched it. We had a little fake out here, slightly. It didn't fake out our red box, though. Our red box zone, it literally went almost to the T and then immediately sold off. So that was a good tell. In this box, we also drew on here a long time. It's like a super hardcore resistance box. I'm going to drag that out a little bit, too, here. Or maybe if I can... What the hell is going on? I'm not sure what's going on with TradingView right now. It's like I even click... I know y'all can see this, and look at that. It's like dragging my screen. Weird. Huh. Little glitchy action. Oh, well. Actually, let me go big screen. Sorry. Give y'all some more real estate over there. Especially if you're watching on a phone or something. You do see this trend line on this recent price action that's forming about here, and look at that. It is making a trend line cross that lines up exactly with the 55 EMA. So right now, 66... What is that, about 66.80? 66.50 to 66.80. Seems to be some pretty hardcore resistance. Let's go ahead and throw a alert on that, see if we can get price action going up that way. I guess on that last video that I did, I was talking about how I was cautiously bullish, and I had long positions in. I actually took those off in that recent pump here on this one, just because we were coming back up to that 60, 69 area, which we obviously have clear resistance, and it also coincided here perfectly. And as soon as this hourly came back and engulfed this action right here, I sold my long, and I actually went short up there. There wasn't really any indicator that kind of gives you that information besides, like, I guess maybe myself. After you trade a lot, all the inputs that you kind of get, you know, your subconscious is like measuring so many data points that you can't be aware of, but like trying to recognize those data points and recognize like your like gut emotional feeling, which is generally correct. Not like your gut emotional feeling because you have a position and you want it to be long because you're long. Not confirmation bias, but more of a true gut feeling. And I know that's probably splitting hairs a little bit, but somebody that's traded and is listening to this a little bit longer, or that has traded longer that is listening to this, they probably know what I'm talking about. There's just like this certain kind of feeling that you can get, and you know, it's like, oh, this is gonna break out. That's what everybody's thinking, and they want to get long here. But really, you got to be like, well, if you know, be a little contrarian. It's like everybody's thinking that. You know, we've got the trend line that it keeps rejecting, price keeps rejecting. You know, that's only like $100 away, and considering, you know, is in from back over here, it doesn't really make sense to keep holding that. I talk about managing winners all the time. It's the most important thing to do in trading, in my opinion. If you don't manage your winners, then you never make gains. And then they'll go back to even, and a lot of times go to losers, and then it also destroys your emotional capital, which is almost more important than your actual like financial capital, like the cash money you got, because you could burn through that really quick. You got to keep your head straight. So this candle action is really interesting on the 1 hour. I mean, we couldn't have these EMAs and the triple exponential, which is the blue dot one, stacked more on top of each other than they are now. And we are super neutral on the hourly and the 4 hour. And I mean, look, we're like in the middle of the ranges on most time frames here. So there is a very large move coming up soon. And I'm not sure if there was like ETF thing. I kind of been just shying away from news. It just really messes your brain up. It doesn't make you a better trader at all. There's no edge there. The idea you can get edge from news over, and I know crypto doesn't have trillions of dollars in it, but the idea you can get edge over news that's posted usually after price over like trillions and trillions of dollars chasing money and gains and efficiencies and all that is just really silly to me. And I talk about that a lot in a few videos ago. Please go check that out. I won't go into details here. I don't have time for that today. On the next stream, I definitely will chat about that again. So here on this short, I did take off my short already too. I took that off earlier. My kind of stop out was around this 6,600 level. And since we got back neutral on the DMI here, right there, since we went back below the power zone, I thought that it would make sense to take my short risk off the table. So I did, because there is such a large move here. I'm just being a little bit more aggressive than I usually am. And that's just because we're in a range. And I think being in ranges, you need to do that. Otherwise, you're just going to get chopped to pieces and to shit, and it's going to suck. It's going to feel really bad. I'm not sure if this is going to have follow through. Nobody knows. We are above all the exponentials now. Price action is. I won't get back short until we break these local lows, which is about 6,500 roughly. Okay. That's kind of how I'm playing this, but I'm not long here either. I want to, but I kind of just want to wait to see how this daily closes, which is here. It is not the prettiest looking candle, but I do want to see that price action close above the 21 exponential. And considering we are literally like 40 bucks away from that, and we are also 40 bucks away, or now we're a little bit more on the top side, so we're about 80 bucks away, it looks like, from this move. So, you know, I'm being a little cautious here. I'm waiting for some confirmation. And the fact that we're coming up on the daily, like we're about to just tag this trend line that it keeps selling off from, and we're literally just going to, if price doesn't do anything in the next 2 weeks, we're just going to hit it regardless. And so there is definitely large moves inbound on the BTC. And I'm not getting anything that has enough conviction for me to get long. The hourly is close. It's approaching the power zone, but it's still going to need a couple hours, probably sometime later this evening it could confirm, but not quite yet. So I'm just being patient. Patience is so important in trading, by the way. Do not jump the gun. You usually get burned. All right, let's go to Ethereum. Ethereum is looking bullish on the hourly. It's neutral but slightly bullish on the 4 hour, just ever so slightly. And on the daily, we are back to neutral. And as you can see, this bounce that we talked about possibly playing here in this trend that it's been in, this trend channel for since the major pop in December, when Ethereum was $1,400, which is pretty crazy to think because it's only $230 now. Also, if you remember too, when this happened, Ethereum was about to take over Bitcoin's dominance, which is hilarious. Oh, which I actually didn't bring up dominance earlier. We usually do talk about that. It has fallen quite a bit, a few percentage points. It's around like 51.5, 52 or so. So that's notable. There is some altcoins getting some love, it seems like. Again, all this volume here, we've talked about it a lot as this possibly being a capitulation node here, but it's still a little early to tell price action is trying to, but look how it's getting sandwiched even between the triple exponential and the yellow exponential, which is the 21. For the last week or so, it's been really squishing up into that range with neutral oscillators on the daily, in the 4 hour mostly. On the hourly, let me see here. Even on the 850, it's super neutral. On the hourly, though, it's slightly bullish. So this is kind of an interesting spot here. Okay, so this is actually showing some bullish momentum where Bitcoin is showing completely neutral momentum at the moment. Let's just jump over to Litecoin real quick and see. Okay, so Litecoin, this trade. So Litecoin has been really nice. If you go back in the other videos that we've been doing, I've been doing trade setups like this, and there's been some really good Litecoin moves. They've been hitting real fast too, like setting these trades up, and they've been hitting as max winners too, which is pretty, you know, you don't get those all the time, but these are the really awesome setups where you can go in and only risk, you know, like $1 on Litecoin, when you have this support all stacked up on each other and all the exponentials above it. This is like a really good, and then you can see here on the DMI was just about crossing up, and so this was a good low risk setup, and so we threw that on there. It actually ended up hitting. It hit, I guess that was the last time we made a video. That would make sense. So missed yesterday and the day before. And so the next day it came in. We did another one of those too on it, and it came in like a day as well. It's been, I believe it was this move. Litecoin has been nice and choppy, and this is great. See the discipline in this. You got some, maybe you took off about half. If you kind of, you know, want to manage your winners here, when it gets to that, maybe you take 20% off at half, I'm sorry. And then look at this. Do not get scared when it goes into your red zone. This is why you set this up. You didn't have a confirmation bias when you set this trade up. Only close this and adhere to it when it gets out of the box, because otherwise you're trading off of emotion, and you don't want to do that. So obviously, since we haven't made a video in the last couple days, again, my apologies for that, but this was set up, and you have this exploding to the upside within 24 hours. So this trade is done. You already, when this candle got out of here, and definitely when it closed, you got more than you wanted. You definitely need to take those off. When you get more than you expect to move, oh man, don't get greedy. And I know it's so hard to do. This will make you get real greedy. And probably what would happen for most traders is they'd get greedy and hold it, and then they see like, see, I told you I'm a genius because it went up to like 65. And then it'll keep going sideways, and they're like, oh, dude, it's about to pump, bro. And they like tell someone to get into it. And then it gets all the way back in here, and then you're really pissed because it just dropped 10%. And you were only targeting 6. You got about, what is that, 12 or so? Yeah, like 11. So you got about 11, and then it goes back down, and now you only have like 5. You're going to be real mad, and that's the emotional capital part. Jesus Christ. Capital part, emotional capital part that you need to manage, or you're going to lose money. Entering trades usually on emotion and exiting them on emotion is just never a good idea. So this trade is done, so let's take that off. But just as I wanted a little confirmation of Ethereum and Litecoin have been showing a little bit of strength lately versus BTC, relative strength that is. This is a really interesting pattern here, and we are floating above the mid part of this channel. And if I zoom out a little bit, that'll be a little bit more clear. It's a very similar channel of Ethereum's. It has more tests though and touches. And now we keep trying to get over this middle point, but we cannot do it. Litecoin notably is on a daily power zone. That's interesting, because Bitcoin has a ways to go on that, as does, oops, I did not mean to put that there, as did Ethereum, I believe. Let's jump back over there to Ethereum and finish it real quick, because I just wanted some confirmation with that. Yeah, Ethereum's got a long ways to go. So Litecoin is showing, Charlie Lee is showing to be real strong now. So I think what we're going to do here, because this risk to reward looks fairly decent, is a long entry just below. Oh man, why do they make these boxes so long? I'm not trying to do this trade for, you know, 4 weeks. What the hell? Alright, so let's throw this on there, and let's look at it on the hourly. Give us a little bit more accurate kind of entry here for this time frame. And so we can go down to this exponential, which coincides with this price action here that got bought last time. And maybe we can stretch it a little bit more. Do about 3% to the downside. It's about $1.50. And on this one, y'all, I think it's safe to target at least the top part of this range. Because like a 618 is only going to be about 63 bucks, so that's about right here. And if you do that, that's not quite good enough on the risk to reward. That's not barely 1-to-1. All right, and y'all know I like to do at least 2-to-1 minimum. Really closer to 3-to-1 is the sweet spot, in my opinion, of course. So here we are, looking fairly bullish. You even have this trend line too coming up on Litecoin. So Litecoin is looking a little bit better than most. This is actually, it looks like to be a channel too. Oh my gosh, my computer. What is wrong with you, computer? You can handle this, man. Yeah, it's almost time for me to upgrade, I believe, on the PC. Alright, so you kind of do have this channel right here, upward trending channel inside of the longer trend since the beginning of the year. So this, I'm going to go ahead and target the upper part of this channel here. And so that puts us in at about a 2.8-to-1 risk-to-reward ratio. And it's not too shabby. It's not the best trade, but I think the way Litecoin's been looking, this is a pretty decent setup here. And again, you're only risking about 3% to the downside, so not too shabby. And Ethereum, back over to Ethereum, you could kind of do this a similar setup on that, but I don't want to put all my baskets long on all of them, because going long this, going long Bitcoin, going long Litecoin all at the same time, there's no diversification in that. You're pretty much just all long one of them, really. Yeah, they move slightly different, but as we all know, Mama Bear generally sets the tone. But Litecoin is looking fairly decent at the moment, so do keep an eye on Litecoin. Maybe if it breaks out over 70, that might be a little hint that we're about to get some nice upside in this market. Let's go to the rips. Nope, we already did rips. Let's skip ripples. We're going to EOS. Where is it? Oh, that one's on the top. Wish you could just put that. Oh, look at EOS breaking out of this channel ever so quietly. And this channel has the first anchor point from May. And you can see here, we did put this trade on. Let me zoom in on the EOS. And I guess we did that on the same day over here. It almost came in fully. So something like this, when it gets up to consolidation areas like this, managing this at least 50% is what I would do. Just because you have all this business done, you're barely kind of getting out of here. You could definitely leave this on and not manage any of it, but I like to manage winners, because that way if it does crash all the way here, and let's say this price action kept going, you still made money on part of it, and you lost less than you made, and the overall trade's still a winner, even though you were partially wrong, right? So that's what's cool about scaling, is generally what people will reference that to. So if we pull a fib on this local action, yep, we are getting resistance right at the 618. You can see here at about 5180. 5180. Pff, man, bet everybody wishes EOS was that high. At $5.80. So a close on an hourly would be very bullish if it could get over 580, and that would probably coincide with the DMI bulls getting into the power zone, which could potentially happen tonight. Maybe not. I don't really like to do predictions, because that's kind of like a fool's game. But yes, it is looking fairly decent. Let's extend that over a little bit. And look at this, almost stopped you out right here. Closed right on it. So, and that's where you kind of have to do whatever your personality type is. Like some people would close this because it was close enough. Some people might even close it when it got out on the wick and not waited for the close, the daily or the hourly close. That's something that you have to kind of add to your own trading regimen, because you know, yeah, even though it did this, you do have this trend line that's right here that it bounced right off of, you know, so you do have to kind of have to, I don't want to say flex it because that's not the right word, because you need to adhere to your stops, but you know, since it's like right on it, you don't have good conviction either way. Like it's almost there, but it's like not quite there. And then, you know, like the next hour, like consolidation just chills. So, and when you're looking at hourlies too, you know, it's easy to let just an hour go by and see. Wait for some confirmation. Just be patient. Don't jump the gun. It's bad news bears. So we're going to just leave this kind of set up right here. It's still okay. Maybe we'll still have the chance to close the rest of this out for the target. If not, it's still been decent if you manage at halfback of this green box, which... as I've discussed at length, I do. Alright, let's go to... Oh, what was it? The one I wanted to go to. Hold on. Let me go over here to... I wanted to go look at Steem. That's what I wanted to look at, because it was popping pretty good the other day. So I guess we should do dollar. Let's do dollar. Yeah, it popped really good the other day over here. Went up to almost like right at $1, sold off hard, and now it's just been consolidating like a mofo. Man, I cannot talk for crap today to save my life. Alright, let's put these horizontals on because I don't have them on. Alt-H, you can do that really fast with TradingView to throw horizontals anywhere. And if you can see these horizontals, we are pretty weak. There's no one really in command. They're not even like barely in the neutral zone. They're both in the weak zone on the 4-hour. So this is an interesting inflection point for Steem. I want to say that this is bullish by looking at this chart. That's like my initial reaction to this, is that it looks semi-bullish. I would like to see this DMI get up above into the power zone before really getting too bullish. But given this price action for a week for a coin like Steem to literally go in about a 4-cent range is pretty intense. I think what I might do on this, let me see. Let's zoom in. Did get rejected on the daily 55, but we are finding support. We're getting a little sandwich action. Let's see. I kind of like this as a long, because that's right at the 618. Yep, right here at the bottom, all these wicks. So, alright, so that's kind of nice. You can get real good risk to reward ratios here. Set this up to about maybe the tops of this kind of business back here. And, you know, that's only about 7%. But even if you just targeted the, let's say, if we go here and do a extension, so 1618 extension, which is this number here, this gray one, those are really good for like doing target setups, and that's at about 125. So, which is kind of, you know, kind of high. That's getting close to this purple exponential and a lot of this business over here. I don't know if I want to be that ambitious. I'm probably just going to say maybe do a basic little 3-to-1 on this guy to the tops of this other business right there. I think that's a pretty decent setup. And you almost have 4-to-1 on that. And of course, you can ratchet this up a little bit more if you only want to go to the bottom of there. And this is where you got to learn to trade, and then you make your own decisions based on your risk management. I've never liked the idea of like how all these people just want like, just tell me what to buy and sell, man. Give me signals all the time. Hey, and there's a market for that. People want to do that, but I'm not sure if that will make you a consistent trader in the long run. So I'm gonna kind of set this one up like that. Steem. Let's go look at BitShares, which is another Dan Larimer project. You know, we went in EOS, BitShares. BitShares has been around for a long time. They've been around since 2014. They're pretty awesome. If you haven't used their decentralized exchange, I highly recommend that you do that. I think I do have links in the descriptions of the videos too. You can get hooked up with fees from like other members, and it doesn't have a lot of liquidity, just as no DEX really does. But you can lend in it, which is really badass. Like, you can totally just margin lend in there. And there's not any other DEX where I can like put up BitShares as collateral, and then they'll give me US dollar tethered, like they call them BitUSD in there, and then you can use that to go buy, you know, more BitShares if you want, or EOS or Steem, or the Chinese yuan is very actively traded on there. So that's also kind of a cool little thing. I wish people just use DEX more. It's like the cool tech, just the layman and basic person just doesn't really care about that stuff, you know? It's kind of this weird realization I've been having over this last year is like DEXs, they've been around for kind of a hot minute. Most of the ones, like Binance is working on one now, but you know, people like centralization. You know, it's sucks to say, but they really do. And I think it has to do with psychology of liability shift. So they don't have, they're like, oh, well, it wasn't my fault I lost all my money. Because if you buy something and you lose it all, then it is your fault. But if you kind of have it somewhere in this institution and you let them lose it for you, then it's their fault and you feel better. That's kind of the shortest version I can put for that. But BitShares is looking okay. Steem, it looks a little bit better on a technical perspective. But from where BitShares is in a price perspective versus the rest of the chart, it actually is kind of looking like Bitcoin coming up on this longer term trend line. I don't have a position in BitShares at the moment. I actually went to a lot of dollars, BitUSDs, just because I've been playing this range, this range the last month, buying, you know, around 10, selling close to 12. It's been a really good trade lately. But, you know, it hasn't really gone down back to that 10-ish area, which, come on, man. Scoopy. Let me scoopy it. Not too interesting. Price, the oscillators suck on it. Price is just telling you, getting ready to have a pretty nice move. And it's pretty impossible to say the direction. I'm sure this is just waiting on Mama Bear, like everything else is. It's just how it works in this game, right? Alright, speaking of the Mama Bear, I'm going to go over to her real quick to do final thoughts. And if there's anyone listening live, if you want me to look at a ticker before I sign off or have any questions, I'd be glad and happy to do so. But I do need to get ready to go to work. I'm probably already... Oh, yes. I'm getting a little bit crazy here. But that's okay. You can flex your hours a little bit when you own your own business. Just, you know, ever so slightly. So here we are, consolidating still, kind of the same story. Let's see. I want price action to stay above 65 ultimately, but really I'd like to see it stay above 65.30. All right, in the 30s, 65, 30, 65, 40. If we can stay above there, this is likely to have a good little pump up to this red exponential. And if it can clear that, man, we have to test this blue line. It's just so damn close already. But something tells me in my gut it's going to be kind of just boring weekend. And we're just going to go sideways until the beginning of October. Because let's go look at a monthly real quick, actually. Oh my goodness, this is a very, very dirty chart. I need to clean up some of this stuff. Alright, so this box is just like my wish that price would go in here someday. I drew it when in December and January. I was like, man, maybe price can go here someday. That would be a great buy zone. Well, we might not see that. It could not happen. It could happen. Could not happen. Who knows? We don't know. But you can see the monthly. We have been, as y'all know, in that damn range. And the larger range is probably about 64 to 75. And so we just can't really get out of that. And it looks like this monthly that's going to close. When is that going to close? I think tomorrow, right? Is that correct? Is it tomorrow? I can't see. I'm trying to pull up my calendar here, but I'm not doing it very successfully. Yeah, so Monday's the 1st. So we'll have a weekly and we'll have a monthly close on Sunday night. That'll be tomorrow night. So that'll be very interesting. I'm not, it's like I said, no good support. Again, that coincides with our box that we've had drawn on here for a while. And guys, y'all know that I haven't changed that. This has been kind of redundant because it's just price doesn't do that much. You know, when it gets below this 6150 area, 6100 area, you know, it's very likely we break out of this box if it does it one more time. I still think that there's more chance for a little bit of upside here. Also, the fourth quarter of the year is traditionally bullish for cryptocurrencies, except for 2014. 2014, we did see a substantial sell-off, about 50-60%. So, that's why I'm being very cautious right here, right now. I don't have any positions, long or short. I'm waiting for this price action to break out below like 65.50, like I said earlier, 65.40, and let's see it get above. Now I want it to really get above 66.60. How about 66.66? There you go. If you look all the way on the right, bam. That's everyone's favorite number, right? All right, guys. With that said, keep an eye out on the hourly DMI. That'll be like my last final thought. And yeah, if that can cross above this here in the next few hours, which it definitely can because it's that close, that would be a really good long signal for at least a little pump, maybe like $100 or something like that. Like I said, I'm being very nimble and kind of just scalping ranges at the moment because there's not really a good trend in place. So I am watching that, especially price all stacked up right now in the moving averages. You have not seen that in not with price above it. You haven't seen that since, let me just go back a little bit on the hour. You haven't really seen that since back over here in July. You saw, yeah, about pretty much July you had that. I guess right here too in August. July and August were the last two times. And let's zoom in August actually, just for some reference points. This is what I'm kind of, this is similar. It's not exactly the same, but it's very damn similar, this area here. And once this area got confirmed and the, as you can see here on the hourly, came back up, and at the same time the bulls went into the weak zone. It's exactly what you want to see. Price took off for about $800. So if we can come over here and kind of use that and do the same kind of thinking, and it does seem like if the bears get pushed below this mid-15 or mid-teens level, and they get weak at the same time these bulls get strong, just like right over here, we should have some follow-through, and that's what I'm looking for to scalp right now. All right, guys. With that said, this has been No Noise Research. I am your host, Z-Rex. If you found any value in this, please sub, bell, and smash. And we will see y'all tomorrow. Much love. Good luck. Happy trading out there. Peace.